Hey guys, and welcome back to the Grassroots Pod. Today I'm here with Dylan Shepard, head coach for Ristozi FC. Is that how I pronounce it? Ristozi?
Yeah,
Ristozi?
yeah.
Gotcha.
Ristozi.
Gotcha. Ristozi. Well, thank you for your time and welcome to the pod.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So I'm going to get the layup question out of the way. I'm sure you're very tired of getting asked these questions. You're a 20-year-old head coach who has brought a team to the U.S. Open Cup. Can you just give us an idea on your coaching background, your playing background, and how that opportunity came about, especially when you were appointed at the age of 18? You weren't appointed just
Yeah,
this year. So how did
yeah.
that opportunity kind of come about?
So I started when I was 17. It was at that time it was more of like a Sunday league team. It wasn't as serious as it is now. And I played for Celtic at the time, which is a club in Maryland. And it was during the fall, technically high school season. And one of my friends played for the team. He just told me to come play. So I came and I played. And then the spring came around. Obviously, I had to go back to playing club, but they kind of needed an assistant. So I became an assistant for a bit of a time. And then the head coach, they kind of just parted ways with the head coach. And I was kind of just the only one around at the time. So they gave me the opportunity then, and then we kept winning, and they kind of stuck with me since then.
There you go. Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so off
yeah.
that, like with the vast success you guys have had over the past few years, how important is it to keep that standard up year in and year out? And what approach, I guess, to kind of two-pronged question here, what approach do you take as a coach in order to maintain that high standard, especially with roster turnover that I'm sure is
Yeah.
very common with your team, especially as it is in many of the amateur leagues?
Yeah, obviously, I think number one thing is retainment, retaining the pieces that you can build. Because for us, we play a pretty complex system. So getting guys that can understand our system quickly and then can understand it to the new guys as well and getting them bought into what we're trying to do. I think that's extremely important. And then making sure we're having the right talent. And that's not just in our starting 11, but making sure we're talented deep into our squad as well. Because, to win championships and to win big games, you got to have a lot of depth. So for us, retaining the talent, having a ton of depth is two important things.
And I'm sure it varies year to year, but for this upcoming roster for the new season and especially the Open Cup run, what is the main kind of like pool of players from? Is it a lot of community college? Is it a lot of high school? Is it a lot of ex college? Like what is that level, at least with the current team?
Yes, for Open Cup at least, or for MPSL.
I guess Open Cup first and then also
Open Cup, yeah,
MPSL if you don't
yeah, that's
mind.
fine.
Yeah.
For Open Cup, obviously, a ton of our guys are college based, so eligibility wise, they're actually not allowed to play. So for us, it's mostly just getting as many ex pros as possible, getting USL one guys, USL championship guys, the high end college guys that just graduated that are looking to go pro, give them that opportunity to showcase themselves. And that's really the player pool we're working with right now.
Gotcha. And then MPSL, it's a little bit more of that. You
Yeah,
get a
yeah.
more of the college.
Obviously, we won't say no to ex pros, obviously, because the talent level is there. But at the same time, we do like to be a college based team. I think that's what MPSL and USL two should be for, in my opinion. Especially giving those guys opportunity to go to that next level as well.
Gotcha. And then how big is getting a berth in the US Open Cup? I mean, that's a huge accomplishment. How big is this for the club? And you could take this any way you want. I mean, this could be
Yeah.
fan engagement, actual player retention, and recruitment, just financially. Like, how big is this for the club and all those different facets?
Obviously, it's big. I think the most important thing is definitely in recruiting. I think being able to show players that we have a proven pathway to get guys those pro looks, from the scouts, agents, coaches, whatever they are. And then number two is definitely just, the club has earned it. Our owners work really hard to do some things in the background, our staff as well. We have three assistants, or two assistants and a keeper coach. They've worked their butts off to earn where they are. They deserve it. And obviously for the guys, it's going to be important. Giving a lot of these guys have been underestimated and undervalued by the previous clubs, or they're not seen as highly by some of these agents. So for us, it's getting the guys that have that mentality and getting them on it. And we couldn't be happy to give them opportunity to show what they can do.
And then, so how do you balance in terms of your matchup, right? Charlotte Independence. How do you match up, balance that approach of playing a professional team with equality? So I'm curious in how you, an underdog coach, because you guys, I think you would admit, first off, you are the underdog going into it. If there's any shame in that. What's sort of that your coaching balance to go to balance? I don't know. You have confidence in your own team, but you also have to respect that the opponent you're playing is a different quality. How do you balance that? And what take me kind of into that locker room pregame and the weeks leading up? How do you balance that respect with confidence in yourself?
Yeah, obviously the number one thing is prepare. We're a very prepared team. We like to prepare for everything that we can, give our guys the most information possible without overloading them and the other team. And then number two is, it is confidence. At the same time, I'll take our guys up against anyone. There's a reason we recruit the way that we do, and we don't just look for the talent, we look for the mentality of the guys. So like I said, if the mentality's there and the talent's there, I'll take us against anyone. And obviously, we prepare for Charlotte in every way that we can, and we have a ton of respect for them. And they're one of the higher USL one teams for sure. But at the end of the day, we'll prepare and we'll do what we need to do to get results.
And then, so I'm always a nerd when it comes to kind of the logistics and the travel in a lot of these lower leagues, and especially when you have to go these long distances. So I'm curious
Yeah.
if you know yet, this could be down the line. How are you guys handling? Are you guys taking a bus out there on a 7 hour drive? Are you staying at a hotel? Is it just immediately back overnight on a bus? Like, how does that work? That's just kind of the
So,
nerd side of it.
obviously, like because we have a ton of guys coming in from all throughout the country, everyone's just flying in, and
Gotcha.
then we'll meet there, have a couple sessions, and then play the game, and then fly back. I think the day after the game.
Gotcha. Okay. And then really just last one here. I really appreciate your time. So I couldn't find a schedule online yet for the NPSL, for your guys' schedule
Yeah,
specifically. However, most matches start in early to mid-May. How does having such a big match in the off season, quote unquote, I get it's a different roster and things like that, but you obviously still will probably have some players that carry over and things like that. How does that, like having such a big match in the middle of the off season, even if you guys end up advancing, you still have like another month till the next round.
yeah.
How does that work in terms of like the camp? Like you said, like how are you communicating with players now and things like that? Or is it really kind of just makeshift once you get there? Hey, we go from here from some of the ex pros and things like that. Like, how do you manage that with having such a big? It's like one of the Northern European teams where they play in the summers or our summers,
Yeah.
and it's like then they have to play Champions League
Yeah.
in the middle of their offseason. So how do you kind of approach that as a coach?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, having a ton of depth, like I touched on earlier, that's obviously something that's important. Also, just making sure we prepare for everything. If it is an Open Cup game against Charlotte, or it's a midweek match against an MPSL team, we're trying to keep the standard of how we prepare pretty good throughout. So at least our guys are understanding that we're taking every game as serious as we are an Open Cup game.
Mhm. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Well,
of
Dylan, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you
course.
just taking a few minutes to kind of come on. Best of luck to you guys, and hopefully a very long U.S. Open Cup run, but at least in the
Thank
short
you.
time against Charlotte. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Of course. Have a good rest of your day.
You too.